Hello, this is the Aura Boy 111, and today, after it reaches the 5-minute mark, I plan on reading a couple of my stories. Just to make sure, though, the sound sounds right to everyone, right? Um, the, does the sound right to everyone? Eh, just is the sound working right? I just need to check that before I go any further. Okay, good. I'm uh, I'm I'm probably gonna wait a few minutes to see if more people come in. What's this? No, bad. No, not time. Okay, Danny is doing okay. Danny is somewhere. Why am I getting notifications? Hold up. This is why we have 5 minutes before I actually start doing anything. Because of dumb stuff like this. Did it just notify me of something I already got? Messenger's being dumb today. Yeah, it did. What in the universe? That's weird. You ever had a messenger glitch like that? Weird. Okay. Do you know me? Yes, I do know you, Bailey. What's going on in the background? Quite an interesting conversation going on there. I just joined. Hi, Topaz. What's going on in the background? This conversation. Who just joined? Someone just joined. I don't know who joined. The third person. The phone had plenty of time to sleep before. It does not have time to sleep now. Whoever just joined left. Mysterious somebody. I'm doing a live video right now. Nah, I'm doing this through Facebook. Okay. So it's reached the 5 minute mark, so I guess I'll get started. This is the first story I'm gonna be reading. It's all on my phone. You see, you can't see anything, can you? This thing is too bright. Hi, Ian. First story I'm going to be reading is The Gardener of the Future. Prologue. The Gardener. On a ship, there was a 196-year-old lady. This ship disguised itself as a castle wherever it goes, making it hard for her to go anywhere without being noticed. On the inside, her ship had gardens branching off of the console room of her ship. This lady had darker red hair, green eyes, and wore overalls along with a straw hat. She called herself the Gardener. She left her home planet, to find plants around the universe to add to the gardens of her ship. Though she didn't always succeed. Before, she had blonde hair, green eyes, and wore a dress, and she found herself on a planet where she wasn't welcome and had to regenerate after they attacked her because she wouldn't become one of them, as they were emotionless. So far, that was her first and only regeneration. She was heading to Earth to take some of its abundant plants. That is, until something happened mid-flight. Half the people just left. Part 1. A forced return home. The gardener's ship changed course mid-flight to her home planet. No, I mustn't go back there. I'm not trying to regenerate today, she said. She knew she was in trouble for altering time by taking plants that other species needed to survive, and as a result causing mass extinction on some planets. She slammed the controls and did whatever she could, but no matter what she tried, the ship was still heading to her home planet, Gallifrey, and the Time Lords were going to be highly upset by the extinctions she had inadvertently caused. She materialized quite some distance from the Citadel. Man, people are just leaving, man. The universe. As the ship's exterior was too large to fit, the Time Lords surrounded her as she walked outside of her ship. A Time Lord looked at the master ship and said, I see we're going to have to do something with that time capsule. Another then responded, we plan on having a scrap for parts. The gardener then shouted, no, not my and then a Time Lord cut her off by pointing a gun at her head and shouting, silence! Then continued, leading her to the Citadel until her ship exploded, swallowing all of them in the explosion caused by the gardener when she messed with the controls. Part 2. Trapped in Nothingness. The gardener woke up in a pure white nothingness an unknown amount of time afterwards. She was severely injured to the point where it looked like she would have been dead, but she didn't feel any pain. The Time Lords were not there. There was no sign of life at all. She was alone. She wandered for a while until she heard something. It was the voice of someone, and it was saying, hey, you guys! Someone then appeared before her. It was an eccentric man with black hair, brown eyes, and a well-trimmed beard. He appeared to be in his late 20s and wore a suit and tie, with jeans and a pair of sneakers. Where am I? The gardener asked him. This is a place that seems to be outside of our realities. Here there is no time, no space, no life, just pure nothingness. Here there is also no pain, no aging, no famine, and no death. However, there is also no excitement, no love, no anything, the man responded. How long have you been here? She asked him. I don't know. Probably longer than your reality has existed. Hey, at least I'm not alone now. Who are you? Might as well learn about each other since we're probably going to be here a while. And by that, I mean possibly forever, the man said. You call me the gardener. I travel through time and space collecting plants to add to my gardens, she responded. The gardener? And where do you come from? The man asked. Gallifrey, she responded. A Time Lord, I see. Or should I call you a Time Lady? Or better yet, how about I call you Noi-Possess Yukim? It's Wintarian for a gardener of the future, the man said. I think I prefer just being called a gardener. Who are you? The gardener asked. My name is Mr. Ryan. I was a history teacher in middle school, but then there was a flash, and now I'm here. One of my students was from a place called Wintaria. I think he might have accidentally caused it with his magic, I guess you could say, he answered. Well, Mr. Ryan, nice to meet you, the gardener said. Part 3. Oh man, Bailey's comment. That's just the best. Part 3. The Doctor and His Tardis. And that was the story about my field trip to Peru, Mr. Ryan said to the gardener. It has been about 10 hours since they first met. I think I'm starting to miss Gallifrey right about now, the gardener said in boredom. They then heard a sound and saw a blue box appeared. They went up to it. The top of it said, Police Box. Is this your TARDIS? Mr. Ryan asked her. No, but I heard of a Time Lord who travels in one that looks like this, the gardener said. The door then opened, and out of it came a blind man with a cricketer outfit and a youthful appearance. And he calls himself the Doctor, the gardener added. Mr. Ryan then turns to the Doctor and asks, Can you take us out of here? I've been here for eons. You can't, I'm sorry, but taking you could destroy the entire universe, the Doctor responded. Then, can you at least take the gardener? She doesn't deserve the same fate as me, Mr. Ryan asked. That's what I came here for, the Doctor responded. The Doctor then led the gardener into his TARDIS. Before they got in, Mr. Ryan asked, Hey, gardener. She looked back at him and said, Don't forget about me, the man stranded in literal nothingness. I don't think it would be possible to forget. Bye, Mr. Ryan. She responded before she and the Doctor got in the TARDIS and dematerialized. Back to doing nothing, I guess, Mr. Ryan said to himself. Part 4. The Third Gardener. As the Doctor's TARDIS entered back into their own reality, the gardener collapsed onto the floor from her injuries. Gardener! He shouted before the gardener began glowing. She began to change, and her body changed into that of an older man with gray hair. The newly regenerated gardener then awoke, revealing his brown eyes. Is that you, John? He asked. John was a human he was married to back in his first incarnation, but he was exterminated when they went to Skaro. No, I'm the Doctor, the Doctor responded. Doctor, didn't you have a scarf or something? The gardener asked. How about you get changed up? The Doctor asked, ignoring his question. The gardener then looked at his overalls and said, That's probably a good idea. He then went to get changed. He put on a green polo with a tie and that had a bunch of dogs on it. He then put on a pair of khakis and black boots. The TARDIS then materialized. Thanks for helping me, Doctor, he said before walking out to where his ship was, and then the Doctor's TARDIS dematerialized. He looked at the remains of his ship and said, Oh my. He then walked into the remains. Probably. That would not be surprising. Part 5. Paradox Heart. As he walked in, he noticed how dead his ship was. Then, as he went into the console room, the ship lit up in a pink hue, and a new pathway appeared. What in the universe is going on? The gardener asked. He walked into the new pathway which led into a labyrinth, and when he got through it, he saw a room with a throne. Behind it was the familiar Nothingness, but sitting on the throne was a man who had turned a dark violet. The gardener took a long look at him and said, "Mr. Ryan?" The violet being then responded, "Mr. Ryan is no more. I am the Paradox Heart, and you created me with the explosion." "I created you? You shouldn't even exist," he responded. "I'll tell you what, let's trade. You give me your body, and Mr. Ryan will be freed," the Paradox Heart offered. "And what if I don't?" the gardener responded. "You don't have a choice," the Paradox Heart responded. The violet then left Mr. Ryan and surrounded the gardener. He then began mutating. His hair turned pink and spiky, each one becoming an eye. His eyes turned a bright pink, his skin turning pale, and his outfit was replaced with a pink t-shirt with a light pink crystal with a violet Z in the center of the crystal, violet jeans, and violet boots. The gardener tried to fight it, but caused him to split into two, with a blue version of himself flying into the nothingness of Mr. Ryan. This caused a new universe to be created in the nothingness. The Paradox Heart then left his body, but still had control over him. "Who are you?" it said to him. "My name is What Possess You, Kim," he responded. "And what are you?" the Paradox Heart asked. "I am nothing more than a cop of time," he responded. "Hi, Amanda." To be continued in The Tale of the First Zezapion. Okay, I need to get myself something to drink. I'll be right back. How long is this? I just finished the first story. Next one is going to be The Tale of the First Zezapion. You all should know Zezapion, if you've seen like any of my stories. Yeah, Zezapion. Tale of the First Zezapion. Prologue. The Beginning. One day, Mr. Ryan, the history teacher with black hair, brown eyes, and a well-trimmed beard and a suit, who looked like he had been in his 20s and has been trapped for eons in literal nothingness, woke up. Even though he just woke up, he felt like he'd been worn out. Then a man of spiky blue hair, light skin, blue eyes, a blue shirt with a crystal that had a blue Z, blue jeans, and brown shoes landed in nothingness. The man then screamed, "Paradox Heart, you will pay for this!" and created an explosion. He caused the Big Bang that created a brand new reality, and he would not be known until now. Part 1. Huh? Part 1. Zane, Earth's greatest hero. This story. "Hey Zany, you so fine, you blow my mind. Hey Zany, sung some musicians celebrating the first anniversary of Zane defeating the evil Lyerva. He was now 12, though most people didn't care about his age. Most admiring him, and some took it further than that. Some people took it way too far. Zane has fought more creeps than he's fought actual villains. Zane and Sam were in the audience, while Georgia, Avril, and the other various people, musicians or not, were singing on stage. This ended up with some odd results. "Hey Zany, you so mine." I went, "What are we saying again?" said some random dude up on stage. Everyone then face-palmed. "I think we'll see our way out of here now," Georgia said. They then got off stage. "Every time," Sam said. Part 2. Zane meets Mr. Ryan. Someone then walked on stage and said, "Hey, you guys!" The audience then responded by saying, "Hey, Mr. Ryan." This was the very same Mr. Ryan who witnessed a Big Bang over 15 billion years before, and he hasn't aged a bit. But now he was a celebrity for telling stories that no one believed were true, even though they were. Mr. Ryan then began by saying, "Today I'm going to tell you about what I witnessed, believe it or not, the Big Bang." Everyone laughed and cheered, except Super Zane. Look at that wacko, Zane. Get a load of this." "The Big Bang? Impossible," Sam said while laughing. "I don't know. There's something about him. I don't sense foolishness," Super Zane responded. "What do you sense?" Sam asked. "I think I sense wisdom," he responded. Mr. Ryan then said, Okay. So there it was sitting around waiting for something to happen when a blue-haired man fell out of nowhere. He then shouted about making somebody pay, and then boom! He created the whole universe with one big explosion. I was in shock. I hadn't seen anything like it in my life. The universe expanded before my very eyes, and a man flew off into the cosmos. Well, that was about what happened. Any questions? Zane then raised his hand. You, Super Zane, what is it? Mr. Ryan asked. Who is the man? Super Zane asked. Everyone faced him with an odd look on their face. Come up here, please, Mr. Ryan said. Super Zane walked to Mr. Ryan. When he got up, Mr. Ryan then said, "That's all for today. See you later." Everyone then cheered as Mr. Ryan and Super Zane went backstage. Part 3. Lies or Truth. When they got backstage, Mr. Ryan said, "Well, Super Zane, I don't know who the man is. I have been looking for him ever since I first saw him all those years ago." Georgia, who was also backstage, then said to Super Zane, "Zane, you know he's just making things up, don't you?" Mr. Ryan then responded, very annoyed, "It's true. I don't lie about these things. Fair lady, you should have more respect. You are literally known for making up outlandish stories involving yourself. You're almost as bad as Zane is, to be honest," George responded. "Is that why everyone laughs at me?" he said. "Yes," George responded. "Then that means my whole storytelling career has been a lie," Mr. Ryan said. "You're a pretty good comedian now," Georgia said. "I guess I'm going back to being a history teacher," Mr. Ryan added with a sad look on his face. "Mr. Ryan, I know how you feel. People don't believe what they can't understand. But unlike them, I can tell what you're saying is true. My aura has a lie detector, and it says that everything you're saying is true," Super Zane responded. "Well, at least you believe me. Well, I'm going to Pluto to live by myself," Mr. Ryan said before he flew off. "Hi." "Zane, I think your lie detector is broken," Georgia said. "Your lie detector didn't see what he was saying is true?" Zane asked. Georgia was suddenly quiet before she said, "It did, but I refuse to believe it because you can't understand," Super Zane said. Georgia nodded her head slowly. She couldn't understand. Part 4. Super Zane and Nothingness Yukim. 5 days later, Super Zane and his team were hanging out in the field when a hole opened in the sky. "What is that?" Super Zane asked. "The time vortex," Sam responded. "The what?" Georgia asked in shock. "A man that appeared to be a pink version of the man who caused the Big Bang and had paler skin appeared." "Who are you?" Super Zane asked. "My name is Nothingness Yukim. Where is the gardener?" he asked. "Which one? There are a lot of gardeners in this world," Super Zane said. Nothingness then got more serious and said, "The gardener. A blue-haired man who looks sort of like me." "I don't know a gardener like that," Zane said. Nothingness then sighed and asked, "Do you at least know where Mr. Ryan is?" Yes, but I'm not telling a weirdo like you, Super Zane shouted. Noipossessed then shot an enormous pink blast at Georgia, killing her. If you don't answer, well, you better answer, of course, unless you want to be like your friend over there, Noipossessed said. I will never tell the likes of you. Z Crystal! Super Zane shouted before he shot a blue crystal with a Z in the center, but Noipossessed destroyed it and in the process destroyed the earth. Impossible! You monster! Super Zane shouted in disgust. How did you survive? Noipossessed asked. He was then hit in the back by a violet ray, and it launched him forward. Super Zane, who attacked Noipossessed, saw who attacked Noipossessed. It was Mr. Ryan. Let's go! I found him, he said, and then flew away in the blink of an eye. Part 5. Noipossessed destroys reality. Zane and Mr. Ryan arrived on Pluto and saw the blue-haired man, who said, Hello, Super Zane. I've heard all about you. I'm Zezapion, your creator. Noipossessed then appeared and said to them, Sorry to interrupt, but I have to have unfinished business with you three. Zezapion then flew up to him and responded, And I have unfinished business with you, Paradox Heart. I prefer Noipossessed, Gardener, Noipossessed said, and I prefer Zezapion, Paradox Heart. Zezapion responded, Oh, ha, because it's my name spelled backwards. Well, Gardener, you're going down, Noipossessed said. Fat chance, Zezapion responded. They then punched each other so hard it destroyed reality, but Mr. Ryan and Super Zane survived. Noipossessed then destroyed Zezapion and Mr. Ryan with a pink blast and said, This is what happens to those who break the laws of time. Remember, it's illegal. I'm nothing more than a cop of time. Noipossessed then disappeared, but he forgot about someone. Cat behind me? Marlene, what are you doing? Part 6. A brand new Super reality. Super Zane found and absorbed Mr. Ryan and Zezapion's soul. Noipossessed, you haven't won yet, he said. He then shot himself into the future, and from there, we recreated Zezapion and Mr. Ryan. I want you to create a god of creation named Omega and a god of death named Rainbow, he told them. They were then sent to the past by Super Zane, and a new universe was born in the old one's place, with a cycle to have Zezapion and Mr. Ryan reborn and to recreate the universe indefinitely. As the universe began to pop into existence, Super Zane said, Remember, Noipossessed, Super Zane forever. Super Zane then appeared on the new Venus and saw Georgia. Hi, Georgia. I never thought I would see you again, he said. Georgia then responded, Who are you? Don't you remember me, Super Zane? He asked. Never in my life have I heard such an outlandish name, she responded. Super Zane, in sadness, then flew a long time into the future and stopped about 1,060,000,000,000 years in the future on Mars and saw a gray human-cat hybrid with green eyes, a suit and tie, a big blue star crown on his head, and a laser gun. Who are you? He asked Super Zane. I'm Super Zane, he responded. Well, Super Zane, you do now. As of this point forward, I, Rao Mayao, President of Ferocity, accept you as part of my republic, the hybrid said to him. Super Zane was now a Ferocinian, but he also wasn't the only Super Zane around. Be sure to look out for Ferocity in space. Well, that's the end of the stories for today. I'm going to see if anyone else has anything to say before I go. Oh, no one's there, so.